Hello, my name is Roxanne, and one of the things that I get told regularly when I am in clinic talking with patients, and was a huge struggle for me on my own, was the best way and the most convenient way to get greens and vegetables into my kids and into myself and into my husband, and how to do it in an effective and easy way. So what I have learned over the years is that one of the quickest and easiest ways to do that is through smoothies. So today I wanted to talk with you and show you how I do this with my own family. I use an Instapot because that is easiest for me, but you could absolutely just use a regular pot to steam them. So what you do is you get all of your super greens. I'm super excited because my super greens are coming from the garden today. But you can go to the regular grocery store, and in the salad section, usually at the bottom there are the boxes of smoothie greens. You want to get the kale, chard, and spinach because then you're going to have the most greens at that point. You can also get them at Costco or Sam's. They have a big smoothie green mix, so that's another option that you can do. And so what you do is you take your whole thing worth of greens and you're going to put it in your Instapot. When you do your Instapot, you want to make sure that it has your little strainer wrapped in there so that they don't land just directly on the bottom of your pot. So that will be able to prevent them from burning on the bottom. And then you go ahead and get all your greens. Usually when you get the big bags, you can put them and fit them all in there and just kind of compress them in. And then once you have them in, you go ahead and you want to pour about a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of water. So you want to make sure that all of the bottom of your Instapot is covered so that as you turn it on, it has enough water in there to steam them. And once they're in there, you just go ahead, knock your lid on. Now the trick with this is that you don't want to overcook your greens because you want them to steam slightly. Benefits of this are twofold. It allows you to be able to blend them up into more of a concentrated puree so we can make our green cubes. But the second part is that greens a lot of times, especially your deep leafy greens, are sometimes hard to digest. And so by lightly steaming them, it breaks off the chemical that is on them that makes them hard to digest. So they become more digestible and they're easier to blend up so that we can make our green cubes out of them. So you just want to go ahead, put the lid on, you click on your steam setting, and I just set it to 0. So basically as soon as it gets up to pressure is when I'm going to go ahead and release it. And so we'll let it sit for a moment, let it come to pressure, make sure that your sealing is set to seal, and then as soon as our timer goes off that it has came to pressure, we'll go ahead and release it. Okay, so our beeper has gone off. So at that point, we've hit 0 points, so we'll go ahead and release our spray. Okay, once the pressure releases, you go ahead and take your lid off. If you're doing this over a stovetop, you just wait until your greens wilt, and then you go ahead and turn them off and you take them out. Once they've wilted, you're going to go ahead and transfer them into your blender. Now, I have a Vitamix. It took me many years to get to the point of having a Vitamix, so it's not necessary. You can use whatever blender you have on hand. You will come to find that after a long time, if you are blending and making smoothies regularly, that investing in a greater blender can be something that you look forward to, but it was something that we definitely had to save for and work up to. And so any blender is going to be just fine. So once this is ready, you're going to go ahead and just begin transferring your greens over into your blender. And you can see that they're wilted, but they're still pretty firm. They're not very soft, and that's the way we want them. When you're looking at greens, some other additional ideas is you can add in carrot top greens, you can add in beet leaves, you can add in herbs like celery or cilantro or parsley, which can be great for removing heavy metals out of the system. So this can start to become something that you get pretty creative with and enjoy making these as time goes on. So once you get all of those in there, I've also added ginger to mine a lot of times, turmeric, anything that you want to kind kind of spruce things up with. Then you'll go ahead, grab out your pot, and you're gonna pour some of your water in there so that it blends up more easily. And just get about an inch. Usually I end up pouring about the whole thing in there. And then once that is in, put your Instapot to the side, lid on your blender, and go ahead and mix your grains. Depending on what type of greens you use, some can be more stringy, some can be a little bit harder to blend up, so sometimes you need to blend it and then blend it again to make sure that you get everything pureed. But you can see that I went from having this entire bowl filled with greens all the way down to about a third to a fourth of my blender. So what's really cool about this is that you get an intense, deep concentration. So where a lot of times you're using greens and you might put a handful of greens in your smoothie, one of these cubes is going to be almost the equivalent of a handful, so you can get far more greens into it. The other advantage is that what was happening to me all the time was I would get greens, but by the time I would get to where I was using them all, they'd be going slimy, they'd be losing their nutritional value, and so this way you're able to lock those things in right up front, you're able to get a higher concentration, and you don't get as strong of a green taste in your smoothies because you are freezing kind of and locking that flavor in. So all definite pluses when you're trying to get in more greens into your family. So then once you've blended that up, you just take some ice cube trays. I've gotten mine from IKEA. I like these ones because they're a little bit more flexible, so easier for me to pop in and out. But any ice cube tray is gonna be fine. And then you just go ahead and take your green mix and do it into your trays. So you can see for this entire process, you're looking at maybe 20 minutes, but then once your cubes are done, you only have to do that, every 1 to 3 weeks, depending on how many you're using. For us and our family, I have 5 of us, and so I make a giant smoothie every morning for all of us to have, and I put in 7 cubes into our giant smoothie so that everyone gets about a cube's worth, which for me makes me feel really good that first thing in the day, if nothing else, we're getting in that full serving, sometimes even up to 2 servings of greens right there in our smoothie. So a really feasible and easy way to get greens in and to help get them into your kids and family as well. And then once you have them made, making a smoothie, which we'll do in another video, only takes anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes. So it can be another way that is very convenient to be able to get nutrition in a pretty simple way, in a simple form. That, once you get the hang of different flavors and different mixes, is kind of a fun and tasteful way that usually your kids will enjoy. That's been very successful with our family, and that this has been one of the things that as I work with patients in clinic, I regularly hear back is that just adding greens into their smoothies and doing their smoothie cubes made a big difference in their energy level and how they've been feeling, because all of a sudden you're just getting a way higher concentration every day of these essential nutrients that your body needs. So once you're done filling up your cubes, just go ahead, put them in the freezer. Have some here so you can see. And then usually only takes a few hours. A lot of times I'm not able to get all of my cubes in on one batch, so I just put the rest of my green mix into the fridge until I'm ready to do the next one. And then once they're done, you just get them out. I usually have an ongoing bag of greens in here. And then you just get your bag out. Ideally, you want to use freezer bags, Ziplocs, just so you don't get so much freezer burn on them. And then you're able to just pop them out. And you can see even from my fingers that it has such a dense green consistency to it. So really, really concentrated, really good for your health and for your body. Go ahead and rinse that off. And then we're set for several days for our smoothies. So there you have it. A simple, fairly convenient, fast, easy way to be able to get a whole lot of concentrated green veggies into the diet, into your kids in a way that's convenient, help you feel good that they're getting them in, and doesn't take too much time and isn't too stressful and overwhelming. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Enjoy your smoothies.